Welcome back, my little recusants, to another episode of Final Fantasy X-2. So we have just been blitzing through all of these different episodes complete, kind of coming to a conclusion to an awful lot of these stories. But right now, the three things that are kind of left all mainly revolve around the Bikenel Desert. So we have to go on a big Cactuar Collect-a-thon, because we had mentioned back in chapter 3 there's some sort of fiend awakening in the depths of the desert, and the Cactuars are needed to stop this. Now, as it happened, you could have only collected 5 of the 10 gatekeepers in chapter 3, but the main issue no, it's true. Yuna does literally just dive into the let's help everybody. But this is what kind of happens, and it doesn't matter because you need all 10 gatekeepers. But in chapter 3, you could have only collected 5, and the rest would have had to have been delayed till chapter 5. But essentially, we can just do them all now in one episode. Super handy dandy. And this is the super scary fiend that is now awakened. So the game kind of plays it off like, oh my god, you could have sealed it away, but you would have gotten to 5 Cactuars and they would have said, oh, we just don't know where our other children are, so we'll have to wait for them to get in contact. And you would have ended chapter 3, gone straight into chapter 4, and then you would have hit chapter 5 and it's like, oh my god, we still need to find the other 5 gatekeepers. So don't feel like this is the bad ending. This is just sort of the natural progression of things, and in my mind it's easier to just do them all in one run, one after the other. And in this Collect-a-thon, when you find a gatekeeper, you have to do a gunning minigame. And here we have akin to the 1,000 Heartless fight, we just have thousands of these scorpion enemies. But the Cactuars now have an Ultima Ray, a bloody magic mana beam. Sure. And why it's only Marnella that can do this, I'm not entirely sure, but I'm guessing she must be the most senior or something. But yeah, so now it's we have to find all the gatekeepers. So it's now okay, we really have to do this now. And the whole issue is that they only appear once you speak to each of the mothers of the Cactuars. So they are only spawned once you can speak to all of them. And now we're looking for Lobriva, and they're basically in the oasis. So not too bad, we just have to skedaddle over there. Now, the good news is that with this minigame, okay, you have to basically use Yuna's gun skills to shoot the Cactuar and not any of the other friends the Cactuar has made along the way. But as well as that, you have to avoid the 1,000 needles that they can counterattack to Yuna. So it's not the worst minigame in the world, but it's not the best. But you can buy stuff from the caravan while you're here. And there's interesting abilities like the System Shock add stop to your attacking skills. So that could be something really useful for the Berserker that attacks loads, or even the Gunner with AoE attacks and stuff. I'm not entirely sure if it works with Darkness, but we can try that out a bit later. But yeah, you use the C button to fire, the D button to dodge, and basically the number of the Cactuar's strength determines the number of the shots or the ammo that Yuna loses when she's hit by it. So you have to hit it 10 times When it hits you, you lose 3 bullets, and its general evasiveness is 2, so it won't dodge an awful lot of stuff. So all in all, we can probably win this one, but all the other ones I'm not bothered with. Like, there is no percentage for having to completely, you know, get all of the Cactuars, because unlike in, let's say, the Tobly minigame where you have to sell all of the tickets, being good at this minigame is irrelevant, and you can always retry after the fact to try and re-get the different rewards. None of them are useful bar the reward you get from the final one, which is a garment grid that gives you basically double EXP and double AP. But as I say, double AP is only handy when you've like lots of dress spheres to level up, which none of that really matters because we've them all leveled up as we were going. And then the only other issue is with the double EXP is that it doesn't stack. It just, the double EXP only matters if you've no other, like they don't stack with one another. So I have double EXP on the Lady Luck. Me putting Lady Luck's double EXP and then traveling through the gate to get double EXP on the garment grid doesn't give me 4 times EXP. So all in all, I have no point personally in my playthrough to get it, unless you were going for like a perfect save file, which is all the garment grids, which I'm not overly bothered with trying to do just the way I was doing the gameplay, but for like, you know, and it's not part of the 100%, and it's not tied to a trophy. So that's kind of how I feel about it anyway. But certainly if you want to retry these shooting minigames, you absolutely can, but I'm just going to be skipping over them. So the routine is, you get the Cactuar, you go back to the nation, you reintroduce it back to its mother. You can see him beside Benzo there. You go to the next green box. Also, I think I said like green box in relation to like the last episode where like the boxes were very much pink. Don't know where I was on that color mismatch, but you go to the green boxes here and they'll tell you where the other one is. So this one says it's on, you know, whiter sandy beaches and gentle breezes, so, you know, Besaid Island, fairly handy job there. You find the Cactuar, they basically give you the same spiel. They're after teaming up with new pals. You shoot them, try and dodge them, and it gives you like different strength values and whatnot. Similar thing, they have 10, and no matter whether you win or you lose, you collect them, and then you just have to run them back to the desert, and then you unlock the next mother to try and hunt down their child. So next on our list, you have to kind of look at the mini-map, to be honest, because a bunch of them kind of all glow, which is quite weird. So again, Lobrea loves getting into cramped spaces. And what's handy about this one is that they actually lead us to a cutscene that could be super easily missed, because where they're hiding is in LeBlanc's hideout in Ormy's room, in like a specially spawned treasure chest just for when you know, trigger this cutscene. But LeBlanc and the others are on the airship, so it actually triggers a small cutscene
if they didn't want us,
where the girls are like, actually, should we be going in here when they're not here?
Anything goes for the gull wings. That's for sure.
And I love how, like, by this point in the game, like, Payne's just totally loosened up and is just literally like, fuck it, let's just go with the flow. But just run to Ormy's room, and we find a unique chest from, like, the design of, like, what you call it? Bikenel Desert, which makes sense. He's from there. And then you just have to, like, shoot and go through the minigame. This guy's quite harder because he has a strength of 7, so you're losing 7 bullets every time you get attacked by him.
That's the gist of it.
But again, do not worry about passing or failing these. If you really want to try and pass all of them, you get a second chance, like once this whole mission is finished. They all kind of gather in a little circle in this area, and you can re-challenge all of their, you know, special quizzes or whatever. But luckily, we get 2 for a price of 1 here. The 2 brothers are inseparable, and they're after finding a bird off a particular plains, and now they're enjoying the snow. So it's literally the little area between Gagazet and the Calmlands, and there the 2 little guys are riding a chocobo. Can I capture that chocobo? Can it please be a level 5 chocobo? I'm so struggling to find chocobos of the right max level to get this other extra dungeon that we're going to try and do. So literally, guys, like, I'm going to be very, very transparent. We are waiting to get chocobos so I can unlock the chocobo dungeon as well as the hidden Mihen dungeon. And like the next video after this is going to obviously be the big fiend boss fight in this area. But other than that, we just have those 3 dungeons. The chocobo dungeon, we have to redo the Thunder Plains dungeon, and we have to unlock and do the Mihen Road hidden dungeon. And after that, it's just the case of doing the digging to power up the machine in Jose. And once that's done, you have to run through the Via Infinito and fight the boss down the very bottom there. And other than that, that is actually the game fully completed, and then we can just do Chapter 5's the rest of its story to the end. You know? Like, other than that, that's the side content finished, you know? And I'm just in a bit of a bother because I can't find these level 5 chocobos that I need to level up and not run away and, you know, feed to level 5 and then unlock these extra 2 dungeons. One of which has Riku's ultimate dress sphere, you know, key item in it. So and you need it for 100% and a whole separate achievement anyway. Oh, it's just really frustrating when you just can't find it. Like, you're just going into battles, finally finding a chocobo, capturing the chocobo, and then it's like max level 3. So I just have to just delete it and then go find it again. And like, I'm catching them in droves of like 5 or 6, and then just none of them are right. But sorry, this is a little important if you guys aren't watching the screen, sorry. One of the Cactuars is in an area overlooking the town, and this particular area you might know how to access it. So you have to run to that little grey tree around the corner from the temple, and you can jump up here, and you can get that Cactuar to be recruited with you. But my long rant over, it's basically saying, yeah, I'm just really frustrated that I can't just get the chocobos done. But in the meantime, I've been doing like the item collecting, because at the very least, you're going to be collecting the item, and it's just a little spreadsheet matter of just tracking how much points they all have, and only going back when, you know, it's reached its final form. But next up we have Irio, and Benzo saying that he's went to a spring and we got to see snow. And basically this took me ages, just because I was actually looking like, oh well, he's near the hot spring, and he wasn't. And I was like, oh my god, where is this Cactuar? But he's actually back where we fought Seymour over the edge of the cliff. That's where he is. So, and what's funny is that once you do the mission in Mount Gagazet, you'll always spawn up at the hot spring. You don't spawn at the foot of the mountain anymore, because that's where Kamari is. Like the base of the mountain is no longer our, you know, go-to teleporty place. But we are zipping through all of these gatekeepers, and I'm sorry that I'm just basically using this as like a little therapy session to rant about this RNG Chocobo stuff. But basically, yeah, that's it. I just have to show you how to beat the boss that this side quest summons. I just have to do the digging mini game to fight the other boss. Well, I'm not going to call the other one a super boss. It's not really as difficult as the boss we're about to unlock with this whole side quest. And I also have to then give out to myself because I was doing the boss fight and all I needed to do was put 2 Dark Knights in the part, like in the sphere grid mix-up, and use darkness and have one out like Riku as an alchemist throwing stashed mega potions, and the boss fight would have been significantly easier than what I ended up throwing about, which was, oh, I'll like use Supreme Light, which has like all the really powerful white magics like Auto Life and Holy, and like Yuna has 0 MP cost, so I can just be throwing Auto Life on all this other stuff, which would be pretty cool. But instead, it just became such a pain. And eventually I was like, oh, I'm actually just going to give up and just restart and redo the fight. And then I won the fight. So then I was like, if I, I can throw that up as a little long form video to discuss like what I think about the game and my experience with it, I suppose. And it was a bit more interesting than just do this repeatedly and then you win the game. You might as well show the boss actually being a bit hard,
I guess the Gatekeeper fell in with the wrong crowd.
But having found all 9 of the other gatekeepers, you talk to Marnala, and she's like, yeah, so we kind of quarantined all the enemy Cactuars in this area, but now one of the gatekeepers is actually like, gone rogue and fallen in with these negative people. But what's good is that in this area we can fight Cactuars, and what's fascinating about this is that even with the control command, like this overwrote stuff in the Via Infinito, but eventually we can fight a Cactuar, and luckily enough this one Cactuar didn't escape, didn't run away, and we managed to get a blue bullet on all of the different girls with 1,000 needles. So that was pretty awesome. And just if you want to do the same, you can do that. Now as you run along, you do fight a little, helmet guy, one of these guys. And that's one of the reasons why random encounters can't be disabled, because they're directly tied to like the story and other cutscenes. What basically happens is this guy gets massive, he has huge defense, but obviously his magic defense is so much lower, and with Holy and Yuna having 0 MP cost, see, this was my problem. The Holy looked too fun in this little dungeon area that I was like, I don't need Dark Knights, White Mage is so powerful now, and it just could have been as cool because I could have just used the Dark Knight. But here's an interesting little bit of random tension. Don't know why this is the only time that like there's an instant death mechanic, bar the like giant, pile of needles in LeBlanc's underground or dungeon area. But like, yeah, here it's like, oh my god, the sand's gonna fill up and like suffocate Yuna. Better go quick. And like, there's all these different treasure chests and stuff, but I'm literally like, do not care. Zoomy zoom. And what's funny is that Yuna's run animation is even faster. Like, Yuna runs faster in this situation. You're like, what? And then when you get to here, you start to panic because you're like, oh, we can't climb. So you have to go back a little bit. But once we get over here, there's like no issue. So you're like, okay, fine. And then just keep running along, and eventually we find our little gatekeeper at the end of this dungeon. And we do the similar mini game. We like have to shoot him. And it's only this one. This one is the one where it gives you the Covenant of Growth garment grid, which is meant to be like your, oh, well now you have like double XP and AP, you can like grind out to level 100, but you're like, I have Lady Luck already maxed. So like, why would I bother? But here's the little guy. But now he's friends with other Cactuar, so we're going to have to try and tell the difference.
No more running away from home.
You tell him, Yuna. But now all the rogue Cactuar want to turn into a massive one. And so we have to now defeat the Jumbo Cactuar. And we've been ambushed, strangely enough. And we're going to just keep on the Dark Knight really quickly. We're going to throw up some Mega Potions because they are going to be throwing 1,000 Needles like there's no tomorrow. So luckily the Alchemist can still charge while the 1,000 Needles is happening. And Darkness cannot miss, so that's another pretty good thing. And like, when in doubt, you know, throw Matador Song out, but we're actually going to just nip over and try and steal from the Jumbo Cactuar. Getting some nice bits of stamina tonic. Oh, I'm just trying to get all of the icons activated so I can use Holy. And Holy and Auto Life, pretty nice to have.
No pain, no gain.
And obviously Darkness doing tremendous damage just because Pain has so much HP.
Special.
Just being in the 60s, like, you know. And Holy actually comes out like fairly fast. Like the fact that you know, we've white magic, like, you know, if only there was I'm gonna have to look into it again, but I don't think there's an accessory for turbo white magic. I think there's like a gamma grid for especially fast white magic, but Holy should not be underestimated. And then with that, we have a mission complete. We're after gathering all of the 10 gatekeepers, so let's see what sort of magic they're able to do. So you just have to run out of the chamber with our little Cactuar friend in tow. And then we're going to quickly save the game and then run out for a final cutscene where the game is very gracious and sort of says, this is an intense boss fight. You've now summoned the boss. Do you want to go back to the airship to like grind up in other areas and you're not kind of locked in accidentally? But now with all of the gatekeepers and that old stone that we would have gotten Riku's ultimate weapon out of, they now summon a sandstorm tornado of epic crazy proportions and send away all the different snakes away. And they have successfully protected the Cactuar nation from the fiend invasion. But alas, Marnla has perished, using up the last of her strength to hold them off. And at the moment, the massive fiend is now ours to take care of. And that's going to be next episode, guys. So thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And I mean, here's to the new year. Let's go into 2024 with more Final Fantasy videos to come.
Will be safe from fiends.
Thanks for everything. Bye.
But Marla, she...
Marnla?
She used all her power to stop them.
No. Now a fiend's attacking the camp.